With Sonic 1 and 2 being a massive success, a Sonic 3 was inevitable. There was no way they couldn't make one. In 1994, we finally got Sonic the Hedgehog 3. It was fun, it was fine, but there was something missing. It only felt half complete. That's because it was. Sega rushed Sonic Team out for a deadline which forced them to cut half the game. 6 months later, Sonic & Knuckles was released. And so Sega learned a lesson. Never rush a Sonic game before it's ready to be released. Yeah. But with Sonic & Knuckles came a trick. It had lock-on technology. It was DLC before DLC was cool. You could plug Sonic 2 into the game, and you'd get to play through the game as Knuckles. If you plug Sonic 3 into Sonic & Knuckles, you essentially got the complete game. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles, both games combined into one mega game, and that's the version I'm going to be playing off my Sonic Mega Collection copy. For some reason, Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection doesn't contain it. It has Sonic 3 and Sonic & Knuckles standalone, but not Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Kinda weird. From what I can tell, Sonic 3 was developed entirely by the Japanese side of the Sonic 2 developers, while the American side went on to make games such as Sonic Spinball. This was due to the culture clashes that took up Sonic 2's development. As I said, the game was split into two, Sonic 3 and Sonic & Knuckles. The graphics are all crisp and colorful as ever. The music is also incredibly catchy once again. Michael Jackson himself was involved with the music for the game. He's uncredited, but when you listen to some of these tracks, they were pretty obviously composed by the King of Pop himself. That's all I'm gonna say on the matter. The story this time around takes place after Sonic 2. Dr. Robotnik and the Death Egg have crash-landed on the mysterious floating island where he comes across Knuckles the Echidna. Knuckles is the guardian of the Master Emerald which keeps the island afloat. Robotnik wants to use this power for himself and to get the Death Egg back into orbit, so he tells Knuckles that Sonic and Tails are out to steal the emeralds, thus tricking Knuckles into believing that Sonic and Tails are the bad guys. Sonic and Tails, meanwhile, hear that the Death Egg has crash-landed on the floating island, so they set out to investigate. Sonic goes supersonic right away, and is about to just cruise through the island until... Whoa! Knuckles just punched the super right out of Sonic and grabbed the emeralds and took off. What an introduction! There's also a bit more of a focus on the narrative this time around, with each level showing how your character ends up in the next level. Usually Knuckles lays a trap that sends Sonic and Tails flying. Man, they really set you up to want payback against this guy. With Sonic 3 locked onto Sonic and Knuckles, you get to play as 3 characters, each with their own unique abilities. Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. Let's look into each of them. Sonic plays exactly as he did in Sonic 2, but he's got some new abilities. A spin attack while jumping which lets you do extra damage. Tails can now fly. He's not quite as fast as Sonic, but with the added flight, he can obtain secret passages that Sonic can't reach on his own, and make certain platforming jumping sessions a breeze. Knuckles plays similar, but he has a glide attack that lets him stick to walls and climb up. This makes accessing higher pathways a breeze. He can also run through rocks without needing to spin dash. This takes Knuckles to different pathways that Sonic and Tails can't reach. However, the drawback to Knuckles is that he can't jump as high, which leads to some more challenging segments. In fact, Knuckles' game feels different from Sonic and Tails. See, Knuckles is not chasing Robotnik, he's chasing an egg robo that just felt like throwing a bomb at him one day while he was minding his own business. Don't you hate it when that happens? Power-ups return, and you get the usual running shoes and invincibility power-ups. But the shield power-up comes in 3 variations: Flame, Bubble, and Lightning. The Flame Shield makes you invulnerable to fire damage, and as Sonic, you can perform a fireball attack. The Bubble Shield lets you breathe underwater, and as Sonic, you can bounce on enemies. The Lightning Shield affords Sonic an extra jump and even attracts rings to you like a magnet. Very useful shield. In addition, all shields will protect you from projectile fire. Special stages return, but this time you have to find them through these giant rings that are hidden in each zone. They take you to a game, Blue Sphere. Your goal is to collect all the blue spheres. There's no timer, but the longer you take, the faster you will run, which makes turning all the more challenging. You can't hit a red sphere. If you do, the stage ends. Once you get all the blue spheres, you are awarded with a Chaos Emerald. Sonic can once again go supersonic. Supersonic plays exactly as he did in the previous game, so not a whole lot to say about him. Knuckles can go Super Knuckles, which has the same benefits and also makes him climb twice as fast. As for Tails doesn't get squat. I mean, it does make sense. He's still young, so he can't harness the Chaos Emerald's powers like Sonic and Knuckles can. The checkpoints this time around take you to bonus games, and you get 3 varieties. The slot machine, this weird orb game, and this large gumball machine, so there's plenty of variety there. There are a grand total of 14 zones throughout both games with 2 acts. At the end of Act 1, you always fight a boss, which is usually a mechanical boss. Then you face Robotnik at the end of Act 2. Let's look at the first 6 zones. Angel Island Zone, a fun level with multiple paths, essentially serving the same purpose that all opening levels do in Sonic games. I always found it amusing that with Robotnik's airship dropping bombs at you, that Tails gets left behind and gets walloped. Hydrocity Zone. It's an underwater zone, and you know how I feel about those. With the bubble shield, this level can be a total breeze. The boss of the game is an interesting use of using water bombs to damage Robotnik. Marble Garden Zone. This is a fun level with multiple paths. You can also run on these blue spheres that take Sonic for a ride, and you need them to break through walls. The boss of the level is so cool. Robotnik causes an earthquake that nearly destroys everything, but Tails is there to save you. Seeing Tails fly while holding Sonic was a treat that I'd never forget. It's a pretty fun boss battle too, with Sonic having to jump off Tails to damage Robotnik. Carnival Night Zone. This level is actually where I would get stuck if I was playing as a kid, mostly because of this part where you have to stand on these red and white pillars to make them go up and down. Yeah, I spent a good amount of time jumping on it to no avail. There's nothing that tells you you're supposed to do that. Very confusing. Ice Cap Zone. Holy crap, Sonic is snowboarding. That looked so cool to me the first time I saw it. The music is so good in this zone. I even avoid going supersonic just so I could listen to the music. Launch Base Zone. The cumulative level. It's up to Sonic and Tails to stop Robotnik from launching the Death Egg. There are these platforms that take you for a ride. Then Knuckles drops a bomb that blows everything up. When you finally get to the end, he tries to stop you, but it'll fall off. Serves him right. Eventually you'll beat Robotnik and the Death Egg will come crashing down. Now this takes us to the second half of the game. If you're playing the complete Sonic 3, you'll see a cutscene of Knuckles coming out of a hidden passageway. You go inside and you find the Master Emerald, and the Chaos Emeralds will react to it, becoming much bigger. So now when you hit a special stage, you're treated to a second round of blue spheres. Much harder this time, and it depends a lot on memorization, but as I played I got better, so that by the time I was Knuckles, I was doing these with no problem. But you have to keep going because the reward is worth it. This time, you're rewarded with Super Emeralds. You get all 7, Sonic can go Hypersonic. Hypersonic is Supersonic times 2. He also has a multi-flash attack that lets you take out all enemies. Knuckles can go Hyper Knuckles, which serves the same purpose. Tails finally gets a super form in Super Tails, which makes him invincible, and gives him some flickies that serve to attack foes with. Not a bad deal. Mushroom Hill Zone is such a fun level. You get all these mushrooms that you can bounce off of. It really helps to explore different pathways. There's even several seasons, fall and spring. It looks so good to look at too. Flying Battery Zone. This level takes place on an airship, and you have these hooks which you can use to get across pits and spikes. It also takes gravity into consideration. Sandopolis Zone. The first act takes place outside in a desert, so you have these sand currents you can ride. The boss is really easy when you know what you're doing. All you have to do is lure him into quicksand so he'll sink. The second act takes place inside the pyramid. You accidentally set free these ghosts, so you have to keep putting the lights on. When Knuckles goes in, they're all out already, which makes it harder. Lava Reef Zone. The level is a molten lava zone. Plenty of obstacles to go as you make your way underground. You finally fight Robotnik, who somehow gets encased in molten lava, but he's fine, as per tradition. Hidden Palace Zone. Finally, a one-on-one showdown with Knuckles. He's really easy. But look at the background. There's a mural of Supersonic facing Robotnik for the Master Emerald. I always thought that was really interesting. But then Robotnik betrays Knuckles and takes the Master Emerald for himself. You can't stop him as poor Knuckles gets electrocuted, but finally he realizes that Sonic and Tails are the real good guys. Knuckles leads Sonic and Tails to the Sky Sanctuary Zone. When you arrive, you see the Death Egg take off. Knuckles will set the bridge for you to go across, but he's injured. You feel bad for leaving him, but if you wait long enough, Knuckles will assure you that everything's fine and that they should go. Such a nice touch. Fun level too. You're bouncing on clouds and making your way up. You have to fight Mecha Sonic 3 times. The first time is a callback to the first boss in Sonic 1. Eventually you make your way to the top and Mecha Sonic is fought one last time. You beat him and Sonic and Tails make their way onto the Death Egg. For Knuckles, this is your final level. You finally confront Egg Robo, but Mecha Sonic appears and challenges you, so you have to fight him as normal, but once you beat him, he'll power up to his golden form with the Master Emerald. You have to wait until he turns blue, that's when he's vulnerable. In no time, you'll beat him and Knuckles' story will come to an end. The Death Egg Zone. This definitely feels like the final zone. You got all these anti-gravity sections coming at you, which makes it very challenging for parts when you're going upside down. Eventually you confront Robotnik, who's not playing around this time. This mech looks gigantic, and it creates a great atmosphere that you're up against the planet itself while the showdown ensues. After you destroy his fingers, you have to hit the power core. Once his mech is down, Robotnik makes one last getaway attempt with the Master Emerald. A tense race follows where you have to hit him enough times to get him to release the Master Emerald. But even that is not the end. You get access to the Doomsday Zone. Sonic will automatically go super or hyper, and a race through space will ensue. All you have to do is catch up to Robotnik's getaway vehicle and trick the missiles into hitting the cockpit. After that, Robotnik will make one last getaway attempt, and all you have to do is hit him a few more times. This is such a high-speed chase. It's everything a final Supersonic boss should be. Once that is done, Sonic and Tails will return the Master Emerald to the floating island, where it will once again take off into the skies. Knuckles will see off his new friends with a smile. This ending really made me feel like I accomplished something. All was set right at long last. Robotnik was defeated, Sonic and Knuckles had mended their differences, and I had gotten all the emeralds. So that's Sonic 3 and Knuckles. If there's any Sonic game to play, it's this one. Every level feels unique with different enemies, level design, and terrain. It's everything a Sonic game should be. I can only say, if you get a chance, play this game as it was meant to be played. As one. Well, this is where Sonic hit a bit of a snag. There wasn't another mainline Sonic game for 5 years with the release of Sonic Adventure, but we'll be jumping forward a little bit with Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episodes 1 and 2, even though I honestly consider those games to be Sonic 4 in name only. Thanks for watching, this is RetrospectGreg signing off, have a fantastic day, and take care.